Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. It is the day after Christmas. The dust has finally settled. I hope that you all had a holly jolly Christmas. I know I sure did. It was a really good time. Got everything that I wanted and even more. Things that you don't expect, that you don't ask for, that you don't think that anybody's going to know that you kind of wanted this, but even though you yourself did not know that you wanted the item, but you end up getting it, and you're like, oh, wow, this is badass. I love this. Tremendous. The total haul that I ended up getting for Christmas this year was a couple books, which I loved, some bookends, which were tremendous in their own way. I got a cologne. I got tons of candy, which I've already eaten so much of. I got some underwear, much appreciated, because underwear to me is a necessity and something that I need. And the fact that I got not just one pack, but 2 packs of underwear is probably like one of the better gifts that I've gotten in a long time. Tremendous. This Christmas was tremendous, but I'm not done yet. I also got some socks, which are essential. Socks today don't really last all that long, I'll be honest. When you're somebody like me who pretty much has to wear socks every single day and not only goes to work wearing socks, but also works out wearing socks, and shoes that are rough on my socks. You know, they don't really make shoes that are easy on the socks, if that makes any sense. Usually after a while, the socks begin to wear and tear, within a month or so. You can already see like the wear and tear on your socks from wearing them once a week. I have a lot of pairs of socks. Don't get me wrong, I have a ton of socks. Some that I think I should get rid of because I feel like socks to me are, I like to have an abundant amount of socks. I really do. Because you never really know, like when, sock will get ruined, socks will rip. What if your feet get wet? Something like that. And you need a new pair of socks. One of the main parts of your body that you can't afford to get wet in like a cold weather environment is your feet. You don't want to have your feet get wet. It's not a good thing. It's hard to recover from that because you lose a lot of your heat from your feet, and you want to keep your feet as warm as possible. Not that I'm in any real situation where I require a lot of socks per day and that I need to take a spare, like if I'm going to work or something like that. No, I don't. I'm not in that situation, but it is nice to have more pairs of socks just in case an emergency arises. And whenever I travel, I usually take double the amount of socks as days from wherever I'm going to be, because I don't want to be in a situation where I have no socks. Same with my chonies as well. I don't want to be in a situation where I don't have clean chonies. That is not a situation that anyone wants to be in. That is a first world problem in my eyes when I'm traveling. And I know I don't travel a lot. I'm not somebody who travels that often or, far away distance wise. I just like to know that I have extra I know it's kind of weird for a grown man to pack more. And I know, like, I used to be like this. I used to try to pack as minimal as possible when it comes to clothing. And, you know, as I've gotten older, I, you know, like to, as I've gotten older, my personality has changed a little bit where I want to have options in how I dress when I go somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Mix and match, maybe pack a little bit of a spare of something if I am potentially going to be in a place where, I could possibly go through a pair of socks or an underwear in a day, or what if I'm staying another day, or if something happens and I need an extra pair. I'm always now in the mindset of packing a little extra because I just don't want to be in a bad situation when it comes to that. I don't think a lot of people do, and I think a lot of people actually tend to pack more as well than they want to admit. I feel like people don't admit it because they don't want to admit that they're kind of extra, and that's okay. I wouldn't either. I would not want to admit that I'm extra. But you know what? That is just you. Maybe you can just keep that to yourself, that you're being a little extra. There's nothing wrong with that. Whatever makes you feel comfortable. At the end of the day, if you are feeling comfortable on what you're packing for your trip or wherever it is that you're going, make sure that you are comfortable in what you're taking and that you are at peace and that you don't have to worry about your clothing options. That's what I've noticed as I've gotten older. Once I went to Disneyland, or when I went to Disneyland, I packed extra as well. Not just socks and underwear, but also shirts. I didn't want to limit myself when it came to my dress, my fit when I was over there. You want to make sure that you're looking the very best that you possibly can, work or play. In this case, last week I was on vacation. And by the way, like I said last week, that was an incredible vacation. But let me tell you this. When you decide to go on a vacation at a busy time of your job, like myself, and I did, I was gone for 6 days at a busy point in my job. When I came back, I was worked to the brim. I worked many days straight, day and night. And I gotta admit, right now, I know it's the day after Christmas. Christmas, like I said, was tremendous. But I am a tired man. Extremely tired. Working on little sleep, trying to fit in a workout here and there, which I'll admit, I did not work out a whole lot during this past week. I worked out maybe 2 times in the span of 7 days. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. I felt bad the entire week. Felt guilty. Tried to eat clean. Didn't succeed a whole lot. But I did end up meal prepping, I believe, 6 out of the 7 days, so it wasn't too bad. So I succeeded in that. I maintained a disciplinary in food intake, at least for lunch when I was working. Dinner was kind of, here and there off the chain a little bit, but hey, I sort of maintained a discipline leading up to Christmas, which is all you can ask for, really. I mean, like, in my situation this week after vacation, like I said, I worked 7 days straight since I came back from vacation. And in the midst of that, I had to, find time to sleep, find time to get some last minute shopping done, which I did online, but still, the effort, the time to think about what you're going to get the loved ones for Christmas takes some time. Other things I had to do, cleaning I had to do, things I had to get ready, wrapping. I didn't wrap any of my gifts until I think I started like around like 8 p.m. on Christmas Eve is when I started wrapping my gifts. Terrible, I know. Bad time management by me, but also, you know, it just was, something that, had to be done. That's the only time I had. I kept looking at my schedule and seeing, well, how much time I have for this and for that, and I just had no time. I was literally in a time constraint, or I did not know when I was going to be able to do the things that I needed to do, especially wrapping my gifts. Thankfully, I was able to. Christmas Eve, had the time, wrapped them all. And by the way, I'm not a very good rapper when it comes to Christmas gifts at all. I'm actually pretty terrible. I feel like, when I'm measuring a gift, on how to wrap it, I feel like I cut enough paper because I line it up the best I can, and then I'll cut the piece out. Sometimes I don't cut enough, and then there's like a big gap in the back of the gift, and then I'm like, well, I'm not gonna throw this piece away and cut a bigger piece, a slightly bigger piece, and then fold it. What I do is I'll like kind of turn the item. Usually it's like a box type of gift, whatever. And I'll turn it in a way where I can fold it and it'll cover the back end of the gift and it won't be exposed. So I do that and it all works out. In a way, it isn't much of a bad thing. It comes out nicely. And I think that I've done it this year. In the past years, when it wasn't going to completely cover the gift, I would cut off like a little strip from the wrapping paper and then just kind of lay it in the middle where it's exposed and then do that. So in a way, this year, I actually saved more wrapping paper than I did in the past previous years, where I would actually add on to the wrapping because I messed up in the measurements. Which, I mean, let's be honest. I know that the wrapping paper has like dotted lines and a grid of how to measure things. And it's like a scientific way how to measure items and how to wrap items in a good way, efficient way. But for an everyday man like myself, I don't think that I have the time or the patience to do that because, number one, I'm on a crunch. I'm on a time crunch. I simply don't have the time to do that. Also, I don't know about you guys, but I don't have like an area big enough that's like in a comfortable position or a comfortable height where I can wrap gifts in a scientifically good place to wrap gifts. What I do is I just wrap them on my bed. I don't have a desk for it. All my desks are taken up. I'm not going to use the dinner table. I don't have another table that is in a place where I can wrap gifts when my family is home and I don't want them to see what I'm wrapping. So I have to use my bed. And I'm not going to get on the floor either because I don't want to just sit on the floor. I just don't want to. So I use my bed. And on the bed, when you're at the edge of the bed, it's kind of hard to, keep the paper on because it's just going to roll off. You got to reposition yourself on the bed. You got to move around. And it's not ideal to wrap paper. It's not ideal to cut paper either. The surface is just not like all the way flat. And what am I going to do? Not sit on my bed either? No, I'm not going to. I'm not going to stand over my bed. That's just not comfortable. So I sit on my bed and just kind of do it the best I can. So I mean, like, maybe if I bought like a wrapping paper table or kicked everybody out of the living room so I could use a coffee table, kick everybody out of the kitchen so I can use a kitchen table, but I'm not going to do that. So the best bed I have is my bed. And I've been using my bed to wrap my gifts, but it's not ideal. But anywho, I did that, wrapped all my gifts, got them all out in time, thank God. Luckily, the gifts that I bought weren't like the biggest boxes. I'll be honest, they weren't like the biggest like items. They were expensive items, but they weren't like big in mass. So I kind of got lucky there and didn't really have a whole lot to wrap in that sense in terms of like perimeter area. I don't know the term exactly, but like I guess mm, mass. I don't know. I have no idea. But I didn't have that much to wrap in terms of area. So all my gifts were like compact, so I didn't really have to use a whole lot of wrapping paper. There was one though. You know, I had bought in my sister a jacket. It was a nice jacket too. It was very nice. And I was looking through this tote that we have that just has a bunch of like Christmas wrapping paper and boxes that we, you know, that are like for clothes, you know, that you can buy at the store. That you can, you know, just like these really cheap boxes that are just made for clothing, you know. And the jacket was more on the thicker side, and we didn't have any gift bags. So I was thinking to myself, like, what in the hell could I possibly do to wrap this gift? And it was a little tense because I had to ask my sister actually, you know, how to wrap this because the boxes that we had weren't going to fit it. And I'm like, do we have any other bigger boxes that I can wrap this gift in? And then she was asking me, well, what is the gift? Or what kind of gift is it? And it was for her. And I'm like, well, I cannot say what it is because the gift is for her. If I say what it is, it's going to give it away. You know, so I just said, well, it's a bigger gift. It's a little more it's a bigger gift. You know, it's just going to require a bigger box. So what do I use, man? And she's like, well, the only box I had was like a Amazon box that I got for a gift, and it was kind of big. So you can just use this box, put the gift in there, and then wrap it up. And I'm like, tremendous. Let's get it done. So I gave her the thumbs up. She gave me the box, and I was like, I have never in my life, I don't think I've ever used like a recycled box from one gift to wrap another gift in my life, because the gift that I got, like I said, I got her a jacket, just came in like this plastic bag from Amazon or wherever it was from, Macy's, I can't remember, but it's like a plastic bag. You know, that's how it came in. And I'm like, well, I can't keep it in this and then wrap it up. I mean, I guess I could. You know, now that I think about it, if I kept the jacket in the plastic bag and then wrapped the plastic bag in wrapping paper, how would have that looked? Would that look cheap? Would that look silly, stupid? I don't know. I think in hindsight, it might actually look kind of stupid, you know, because it isn't presentable. You know, it's not like the best looking gift underneath the Christmas tree. And you would want a gift that looks good, right? You part of the gift and gift giving in Christmas is not only what you put in the gift, it's like the presentation of it as well. That's why when I was wrapping, I was looking through the wrapping paper that we had, and some of it looked okay, some of it looked better, some just looked really bad. So I kind of mixed it up. I used all the wrapping paper that was, one, looked good, and two, felt the best. Because, you know, there's some cheap wrapping paper and there's some expensive wrapping paper. I'll be honest, some of the cheaper feeling wrapping paper, in my eyes, looked the best. It was just like red and white stripes, you know, like a candy cane, and just kind of symbolized. It wasn't too like over the top Christmassy, like Christmas trees or snowmen or reindeer, but it was like a nice, classy Christmas wrapping paper. But it was just cheap. Like it felt very, very thin and cheap. And I was just like, well, I know it's all about presentation, but I think that the way it looks is better than the way that it feels. You know, imagine if Michael Scott, when he did Christmas, classy Christmas, right? This is the wrapping paper that he would use to wrap his gifts. He wouldn't use Charlie Brown. He wouldn't use a Santa Christmas wrapping paper, or a reindeer, or like candy canes or like ornaments. No, he would use the red and white striped one. That to me kind of like resembles a classier Christmas. And I'm like, you know what? This wrapping paper is trash in terms of like feel, thickness, quality, but it looks really nice. So I'm going to use this instead. And I was just like, okay. Even though it feels bad, it feels cheap and trashy, I'm going to use this one instead. For the most part. For a lot of my gifts, I actually did use that one. And I kind of switched it up a little bit, even though I didn't really want to. I was just like, okay, whatever. I'll use it. It's fine. And then I realized it was that wrapping paper is such a pain in the ass to actually wrap in, because it's just it wrinkles and crinkles so fast, and it doesn't really take any shape. Like you try to like mold it to the box or whatever, and it just kind of like wrinkles. It's so bad. Like wrapping gifts is so annoying because of the material and how cheap some of the wrapping paper can be. And I was just kind of annoyed, I'll be honest. And it took me longer than I wanted to, because trying to make sure that the wrapping paper is secure and it's not gonna fall apart. But I did it. I got through it. It took me a while, but I did. Wasn't my best effort, actually, but I think I'm improving on gift wrapping. I think I'm actually getting better. Even though I only do it like once a year. When I do it, when I revisit it, when I remember how to do it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is not as hard as I remember, or this is not as hard as I'm making it out to be. It does take time, precious time, but you do in a way kind of get like, you want to put some effort into it, right? You want to put a little bit more, effort, and make it look like it's nice, and presentable. Because a lot of the magic when it comes to Christmas is not just opening the gifts, but the appearance of the gifts underneath the tree. The nice tight wrapping, the nice beautiful popping wrapping paper. Make sure that it has a bow on it. I've always felt that, I didn't need to put a bow on a present that I wrapped. I did it one year. I forgot the bows, and then my mom was like, you need to put bows on these. I'm like, no, they don't need bows. They don't need bows at all. They're already wrapped. It's fine. Now I look at it and I'm like, yeah, these need bows. Without bows, the ensemble is just not even complete. It isn't even worth presenting. It actually looks kind of bad. Like it's missing something. Isn't that weird? How these presents that we wrap and then we put the time and effort into buying and thinking of a gift for somebody that we love, that the wrapping paper is important, and the bow is also important. The bow is like the cherry on top of the gift. It shows a little bit more that you care about the presentation, that you went the extra mile to put that on there, to make it so that you actually give a damn about this person and what you got them. It's a nice gesture. It makes all the more importance of what you got this person for their gift. In my opinion, I don't know. I used to not give a damn. I used to not care whether it had a bow or not. But now it kind of needs it. And if I'm being honest, like, I'm very simple when it comes to wrapping gifts. Very, very simple. I like simple like colors and simple patterns. I don't like to go too far out. But I think it needs a bow, And to me, like the bows that we had, I mainly use like red or white bows, and a couple silver ones We had like a multi-colored pack one that had like green and like gold, but honestly, like, and then some like blue, some purple. Purple, I feel like, doesn't really go with any of the wrapping papers that we had, so I didn't use those at all. The blues weren't that good to me. The green, again, I didn't really use any wrapping paper with like green in it, so I was like, this is just not gonna match. Kind of weird now too. Like I actually kind of care now more if the wrapping paper and the bow matches. I'm not gonna mix and match, but I don't want it to be like so like like I said, like a red and a white Christmas wrapping paper with a purple bow would be horrible, in my opinion. So I'm like, I cannot let this stand. It's got to match. It's got to be nice, presentable. Can't be half-assed. So I'm like, this is that also kind of took me a while too when I was rapping. I went that extra mile. I took the extra steps to make sure that it all kind of made sense and that it wasn't like going to be sticking out like a sore thumb. That was all going to be unison, you know. Same with like putting like the tag on. Depending on what kind of, gift it is, usually for me it's a box gift, right? For me, when I put on the tag, the to and from tag, sticker, whatever you want to call it, I'm a top left guy. Whatever it is, I'm going to put on the top left, you know, because I think that just makes the most sense. And to me, I'm also a center bow guy. I am not like a corner bow guy, whether it be top corner, top left corner, top right corner, whatever it may be. I'm always a center guy when it comes to the bow placement. And I'm not like someone who's going to be an anarchist and put it like on the bottom corner of the gift. That's just not going to happen. That makes no sense to me, you know. And I'm also not like the stringy bow type of guy either. I'm just like the classic like sticker bow, high and tight bow that's just going to stay on there and then not fall off and not be too distracting, not overstay its welcome, not lay low. I'm pretty traditional when it comes to that. Just a high and tight bow that's just going to stay there, and then that's it. No strings, no, not overhanging, just like a nice high and tight bow in the center. None of this crazy crap that people do nowadays. I'm also not a guy who's going to wrap the entire gift in a bow that goes around the entire gift. I've seen those in movies. I've seen those in like a mall and stuff like that. Even like like a fake gift, like underneath a tree that's like in a store or something, right? It looks cool, but I'm not gonna. I usually when I'm opening gifts, I don't have a knife or scissors with me, and I don't want to usually untie it either because they tie it pretty tight. Like I'm not in the mood to cut or have to untie a bow like that. It doesn't need to. The bow doesn't have to secure the wrapping paper like that. It's just for decoration, pure decoration, in my opinion. I don't know. Some people overdo it. I get it. If like a professional rapper does it, I understand. I remember back in the day, it was maybe 15 years ago. I think I was shopping with I think it was my mom. We were at a Macy's and we were shopping for Christmas gifts. And in Macy's, they used to have a gift wrapping department for the holidays that would open up, usually in the back of or by the changing rooms of a Macy's. You can take your clothing there. They would box it up for you, and then they would actually wrap it. And the wrapping was top notch. It was always a tremendous wrapping. It was high and tight. Very, very. The wrapping paper on the boxes were so tight. Perfect creases, no overlaying paper. It was all like to perfection, like a science. Like they actually measured everything, cut it, pinpoint accuracy. It was incredible. It was some of the best like wrapping I've ever seen in my entire life. And my mom's a pretty good rapper, but these guys, I'll be honest, blew her out of the water in terms of like quality and just like, perfection. Strive for greatness, right? Like LeBron says, like these boys these gals in the wrapping paper department at Macy's were striving for greatness. It was tremendous, you know. Since then, I haven't seen a wrapping paper department in a Macy's since then. It's been like 15 years. But tremendous, you know, all around. I honestly, when I was shopping, because I did a lot of my shopping on Amazon as well, I did not even look to see if that there was an option to get my gift wrapped. I'm pretty sure, like maybe about 8 years ago, because I've been a loyal Amazon Prime customer for, I would say, about a good 10 years, maybe more. I don't know. But yeah, I've been a loyal customer for about 10 years. And I could have swore like maybe, I don't know, 8 years ago, remember? I can't remember the exact how long it was ago. But during the holidays, during Christmas time, when you would be shopping, it would give you an option to have the gift wrapped. Like they would send it to you wrapped. It would cost you extra. I never did it. But now I was thinking like this past year, I was doing my shopping. I was like, wait a minute, don't they have like a wrap my gift option? Wrap my package option? I didn't see it. So maybe they got rid of it. I'm not too sure. But that would have been very, very nice. That would have been very convenient. Saved me a lot of time. But then again, like these Amazon boys were freaking like they were working nonstop all around the clock. I mean, I think I said last episode, but I'm pretty sure like every day, like the past like 3-5 days, maybe just a whole week, like there's been a Amazon van in my neighborhood every single time I came home from work or left work or whatever. There was an Amazon van in my neighborhood every single day, at all times of the day. I was like, these boys are doing the Lord's work right now. They are delivering our packages ad nauseum, making sure that we are satisfied as customers of Amazon. I gotta say, it's been awesome. You know, having your gifts get delivered within 2 days is badass. I remember, you know, before Amazon made the standard free 2-day shipping with Prime, it would take you about a week and a half, maybe even more for certain items to get to your house. You would order them on Amazon. And I can't even think of people, I mean, one of my friends doesn't have Amazon Prime, but most people I know have Amazon Prime. Like, if you are a person in 2024 about to head into 2025, and you don't have Amazon Prime, something must be. You probably just aren't a big shopper, like an online shopper, or you're just like kind of insane. Because there's a world that you are missing out on, which is 2-day shipping. You are missing out on a privilege. And I know it costs money to get that privilege. Don't get me wrong. Amazon Prime is like $140 something now for a year. I mean, it's gone up in price. It's outrageous. But at the end of the day, I do think that it is worth it. I think that it is very much worth it. Like, it's so worth the extra money that you spend to get your items that much quicker. It really is, in my opinion, a good thing. I really do think that. Not to be like a simp for Amazon. However, I would love for them to sponsor this podcast. But it's tremendous. It's like one of the better inventions of the modern era. Honestly, it might be more important than like satellites. Yeah, it might be more important than satellites, even though we need satellites to use Amazon Prime, like as a concept. 2-day shipping of goods and services over a satellite, hell yeah. More, I mean, like, just like, you know, it is much more better, much more convenient than satellites, in my opinion. Other gifts I got, like I said, that were unexpected was this. I'm wearing it right now. This is this Columbia zip-up sweatshirt. It's not like there's no hood on it, but it's just like a very, very nice Columbia sweatshirt that I did not put on my Christmas list. Did not even think about getting one of these. But tremendous. Beautiful material. I mean, it's very, very warm. It's not like a super thick material, but whatever it is, it retains my heat beautifully. I mean, beautifully. Like, it is just so soft and nice. Black, which I like. Perfect. Size large, not too big, not too small. Tremendous. For my ma. Beautiful gift. Unexpected. This is probably my favorite, my most favorite gift of the year. I'll be honest, of the season. 'Tis the season. But this is awesome. Like I mentioned, I got some what was it? I got some cologne, some bookends. I mentioned books. I got some Dune books, the rest of the saga, which I'm excited to read. Like I said, I think I mentioned on this podcast before, I'm on the third book, and I'm going to continue to read them. And my brother got me some book markers as a stocking stuffer. Badass. Some Lord of the Rings theme ones. I love them. They're awesome. Kind of leaning into more like maybe the year 2025 is going to be more book reading than anything else, just because I feel like I have the most I have like the most freedom when I read a book than when I watch a TV show. I can just kind of pick up the book whenever I want, read however much I want, and then put it down, and then come back to it maybe the same day or even like the next day. With the show, I feel like I can I'm kind of like, I feel like I'm a little gated, like I'm a little like imprisoned. Like I need to watch like at least an episode of a show, which could be like 30 minutes to an hour. And then I could either take a break or continue, and that's it, With a book, I just feel like I have more freedom in terms of how much I can consume in a sitting, if that makes any sense. And since I've been such in a time crunch in just life lately, it's gonna slow down for sure. But like I feel like in that mindset of like being in such a time crunch, maybe I can open up into more shows. Maybe, possibly. There's a lot of shows that I've started. About like 3 that I've started that I have not even come close to completing or even continuing on to episode 2. So maybe I'll do that. I don't know. But right now, I think 2025 is going to be a bigger focus on reading. And my sister actually also got me a very, very, very nice gift. It was the actual physical book of Masters of the Air, which I had read previously on my tablet. But now, there's just like a more of an appreciation for the book in its physical form. And I'm like, I saw it, I'm like, this is beautiful. This is a beautiful looking book. Like, I'm gonna have to just read this whole thing again, which I'll love doing, but it's gonna be more meaningful, I think. Reading it in a physical, as a physical like page book than on my tablet, if I'm being honest. I don't know. I just, when I open it, I'm like, dude, this is, first of all, incredible to look at and hold and feel. Like you feel the ownership, right? We're a materialistic culture. We are a materialistic species. We love things, and having that book in my hands was just so, to me, so satisfying to have in my hands, that I own, that I could read whenever I want. Same with the tablet version, but just like, honestly, when I was reading the tablet version on my iPad, I did notice that my eyes were kind of hurting after a while because of all the blue light exposure and reading text on it. I'll be honest. When I was reading my Dune books, the first 2, and now I'm on the third one, I didn't feel that at all. And I'm like, it made it easier for me to read those books, reading it on a page than on a screen with blue light. So I'll actually be looking forward to reading that, again on an actual physical paper book, than like a digital version on a tablet. Which, don't get me wrong, it is super convenient as well. Very, 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 very convenient. But there's just kind of like a simplicity and a beauty of reading a book that's an actual book, you know? And you know what? I think I also got an Amazon card, from my uncle. And I think I might just buy like a book or two with that, you know? I kind of want to read Band of Brothers, the book, the actual book. Um, I've seen the show many, many, many times, and I love it so much. But I'm kind of like I kind of want to just like read about war. Read about like, you know, um, World War II, World War One. I just want to like read more. You know, I don't know what it is, but I'm in like in this like I'm in like a quest of like knowledge. I want to know more things. I want to know more about the past. It was always there. It was always in the back of my head. Like I want to do, like I want to know more about stuff. But if I'm being honest, what also kind of kindled it was playing Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which I've only played about 2 hours of. But even in that quick time of playing it, a lot of it is very history driven. Things that you're looking for in the game, which I'm a big history fan, so it's just incredible. It's like right up my alley. So I'm like, oh man, this goes hand in hand. I'm like, this is phenomenal, tremendous. So maybe I'll buy that book with my Amazon gift card, Band of Brothers, and just read the shit out of it. Just read everything, because those stories are just so timeless, from those people that were in that time, that served in that war, in World War II. I don't know. I just feel like I saw that gift card. I'm like, ooh, another book that I could buy. But also, like, I have to also make sure that I'm pacing myself, because right now I'm reading the third Dune. I got all the other books of the saga. I'm going to want to read them back to back to back, Then again, I want to reread Masters of the Air. And then again, I want to buy another book. So right now, I'm just kind of like, and also I have a job to do. I have a job, so, and then I work out as well. So, time is a little on the scarce side when it comes to that. I also want to hang out with friends and shit like that. So, that's a big part too. So I gotta kind of have to, make time for that, which is, easier said than done. I'll be honest, but it's something that will, have to be managed a bit more, for me. Some news in movies I want to talk about with y'all quickly before I get out of here. An announcement was made by Universal Pictures that the next Christopher Nolan movie will be the Odyssey. And the Odyssey is let me just look it up real quick. Hold on. I saved it. I saved the account. Let me just look at this real quick. It's a tweet, a post on X from Universal Pictures. Christopher Nolan's next film, The Odyssey, is a mythic action epic shot across the world using brand new IMAX film technology. The film brings Homer's foundational saga to IMAX film screens for the first time and opens in theaters everywhere on July 17th, 2026. Of course, I liked and reposted it, and I am so excited for this movie. If you don't know anything about the Odyssey, and I don't know much either, if I'm being completely honest, it is a book about, well, it's like a book of stories, I believe. Let me see. Let me just, Google, what is the Odyssey? What is the Odyssey about? Let me see. I know it's about like, it's in Greek times and all that. Let's see. The overview on Google. The Odyssey is a Greek epic poem by Homer that tells the story of Odysseus' journey home after the Trojan War. The poem is divided into 24 books and is one of the oldest works of literature still widely read today. The Odyssey is a foundational piece of Western literature and is considered by some to be the greatest tale ever told. The poem explores themes of homecoming and identity, as well as the eternal struggle of man against the forces beyond his control. That to me sounds like the greatest thing ever. Sounds like the greatest thing that's ever been conceived by a human brain, by mankind. And that this man, Christopher Nolan, I think I could say this, with full confidence, the best filmmaker working today, in my humble opinion. This man taking on this story and filming it for IMAX, this kind of already sounds like it's going to be his second best picture winner, second to Oppenheimer. This sounds way too good to be true. This sounds incredible. When I saw the news, and I saw it because I follow Universal Pictures, I literally was like, oh my God, this man is going to absolutely destroy people's minds, brains, and cinemas all over the world. The straight up what this movie's going to be about, what it is, the Odyssey, ancient Greece, mythic tale, greatest story ever told, mankind. I mean, like, it's just got everything working for him to be like the best movie that's probably ever been made. I mean, oh man, I mean, just the subject that he's tackling is just, to me, like the perfect thing for him to go to after Oppenheimer. I mean, to me, and I've said this, I just said this, he's like the best working filmmaker to date. You looked at his past work: Oppenheimer, Dunkirk, Interstellar, Inception, The Dark Knight, other movies that I have not seen of his that I should. This man is just on a roll when it comes to making movies. Like, he is cinema. He might just be cinema in human form. I'll be honest. I mean, the wide variety of movies that this guy makes is incredible. From superhero to sci-fi to action to biopic. I mean, this guy is just he's the guy. He really is just the guy. There is like no other director that I would be this excited to tell the story of the Odyssey than Christopher Nolan. I mean, I kind of said this to my brothers over Christmas when we were talking about the announcement of the Odyssey. And I was thinking to myself, like, because Ridley Scott just released Gladiator 2, which I have not seen. I've heard it's good, I've heard it's bad, I've heard it's okay. I've heard many things about this movie. This guy is probably going to just straight up outdo Ridley Scott on everything that he's ever done in the Odyssey. Like, Ridley Scott is great at these biopics, these sweeping big biopics that he's done in the past, like Gladiator and all that, Kingdom of Heaven. I think Exodus was his too. I never saw it, but I heard it wasn't very great, so I have not seen it. And but this one, dude, I mean, this might be like the granddaddy of all stories to tell, an epic tale that honestly I think when you look at Christopher Nolan's like filmography and what he's made, every movie that he's made is epic. And when you see the Odyssey described over and over and over again as an epic, then I honestly can't think of any other filmmaker to tackle the Odyssey than Christopher Nolan. I didn't know that I needed this movie until it was announced. And now that it was announced and I'm thinking about it in my head and in my skull, I'm like, oh, I need this. Like, this is just perfect. Like, this needs to come out tomorrow. I need to see this right now. Like that is like what I need to see right now. And I need it. I want it. Like, my body craves it. This movie. I'm pretty sure, like, the cast was already, like, kind of announced, too. Like, I'm pretty sure that Matt Damon is going to be in his. I think it was reported like Matt Damon and Tom Holland are going to be in the next Christopher Nolan movie, which I'm pretty sure is Odyssey, 2026. So that's going to be, I mean, just already starting off as a wild cast. You know, I'm sensing, depending on like the roles that these two guys are playing, that Matt Damon and Tom Holland could win Best Actors supporting and leading in this upcoming movie. I'm dead serious, man. It just seems like it is the perfect storm, like lightning in a bottle, I just can't wait to see it. I think it's going to be tremendous. I haven't, and I'm only basing this off an announcement, truly, honestly. And the thing is, I actually have the book, The Odyssey. I bought it for college. That we read like snippets of it. But now I'm like, I need to read the whole thing now. I should read it like right now, like for real. Of course, I don't want to spoil myself for the movie, but like honestly, I mean, I'm intrigued, And the only thing that's kind of like making me not want to read it is because it's like written in like old timey English, like before Shakespeare time. So like it might be kind of hard to understand, for my little brain. But I feel like I'll just man through it and manpower my way through it and just do it, just because of my sheer curiosity and my love for like history and like my love for like Greek mythology and shit. I mean, that's just so freaking sick, dude. I mean, if anybody was gonna do like, an epic like this on this scale, it would be like Christopher Nolan for sure. And this is gonna be just absolutely incredible once it graces IMAX screens in 2026, man. I cannot wait. In other movie news, last thing I'll talk about today, the Superman teaser trailer actually came out, and my God, I've said this before, when it was announced that James Gunn was going to be taking over DC and creating his own universe, and that it was announced that the first movie that was going to be in his universe, the DC universe, is going to be Superman. And back then it was titled Superman Legacy. And when it was announced and shortly after, I had a conversation with myself on the podcast that, you know what, James? As much as the title is going to work, and it works, and you're going with starting off with the right guy, the first superhero, the best superhero in my opinion, just call it Superman. Just call it Superman. And I feel like he either listened to my podcast or someone else who had the same idea. I don't know who did else besides me, I'll be honest. But I said call it Superman. He changed the title to Superman. Shortly after that, a few days ago, the first teaser trailer came out, and I was just absolutely smiling ear to ear on what I was seeing. I don't hate Henry Cavill as Superman. I actually like Henry Cavill as Superman a lot. I don't like how Zack Snyder wrote him in his movies. Or I don't like how Zack Snyder had him in his movies. I don't know if he wrote the movies, but I don't like how Zack Snyder had Henry Cavill portray Superman in his movies. I don't like it. From the beginning, I'm like, he's not really Superman. He doesn't really speak. He doesn't really do anything. He fights. It's cool when he fights, but there's just something about it that I'm not really feeling from this. And I know that this was a teaser trailer for James Gunn's Superman, but I felt something like in that entire trailer, like that I did not feel 1 ounce in the entire Henry Cavill run of Superman. From Man of Steel to the Snyder Cut of Justice League, I did not feel any ounce of what I felt in that short, brief teaser trailer for James Gunn's Superman at all in those entire DC EU Snyder movies. I just didn't feel it. And in this trailer, to bring back the John Williams theme with an electric guitar rendition, I was like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I needed. Like, inject this into my veins. This is so freaking cool and awesome. And just that one shot, like when the music really gets loud, when he saves that little girl from like that, all that, rubble hurtling towards her, I almost cried on like how something so simple, but the imagery is so impactful, and the musical cue with the Superman theme, I was just like, that is absolutely what I needed. What people needed to see. A simple act of what Superman does like every single day, but in the trailer acknowledging that, hey, we know what Superman is. We know the character, and we're going to give you what you know he is and what he stands for and what he does. And because we've had so much of the strange take on Superman in the Snyder films, where you kind of don't really see that happen all that much, and when it does, it's not very set up well. It's not very impactful emotionally. It doesn't hit as hard, and it doesn't feel as good compared to what we saw in that teaser trailer. And I guess I know it was a teaser, but the tone was set. The emotions were engaged. The heart was there. The sense of hope was there. Optimism was there. It was all there in that trailer. It was just gushing, the entire thing, and then the fact that in the trailer they had like the chance of Superman, the theme, all the stuff that was in it, the heavy showing of like Superman and Lois Lane. That relationship was beautiful. All the other characters in it, which is probably my one concern, is that there is a lot of other characters in this movie. Even though that it's not a Superman origin story, they've made that very, very, very clear that this is not an origin story of him. There is still a lot of other characters in this that have to have stories, that have to have, wrap up their stories in the movie as well to make it a complete film. And that is the one thing that's a little concerning, is just like there might be a little too much in it. But other than that, for me, like it was a home run out of the park, like a grand slam of a teaser trailer. I felt everything that I needed to feel. I felt great about it. The inclusion of Crypto, the super dog, was definitely a surprise. But I can already tell, like, this movie has crowd-pleasing moments, like, written all over it. Like, I can already feel it. Like, there's going to be, like, so many moments in this movie that are just going to make people swell and smile from ear to ear. Even though, like, the teaser trailer, like, some teaser trailers show a little too much. This one was a point, like an A+ grade in terms of teaser trailers. Like, it showed nothing of plot, just images, one line of dialogue, and that was it. And just imagery of things that you already know about Superman, things that you might not know, and a little bit of bits and pieces here and there of some plot points, but not a whole lot of like what the movie is about. It was a textbook A+ teaser trailer, and that's all you can really ask for right now, because the movie doesn't come out until July of next year. And the fact that the trailer also didn't even have the title of the movie in it, it just had the release date. how bold. Like, you know what the movie is, you know who the movie's about. When does it come out? When is it released? July 11th. Be there. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm definitely there. Day one, holy shit, I was just so excited about that. And I was like, Jesus Christ, this needs to hit. This needs to be tremendous. This needs to be the best comic book movie of all time. Not only because it's the best superhero of all time, but it's like it's the start of a new universe, a cinematic universe that they're trying to embark on in the new era of DC, and it needs to hit. It really does, and I think that it is. I know that it's just a teaser, but I can already tell that it's gonna have like so many moments that are just gonna be like incredible for you to watch in the movie theaters. I can already tell. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, and I know because I've lived through the Star Wars sequels that I should not do that. But I just do feel like, James Gunn's been very vocal about his entire process of how he's made this movie and where he's at with filming the movie. And right now, editing it and all that. And starting like somewhat of a press tour kind of interviews and all that. Even though it doesn't come out till July. It just feels more organized and much more taken care of than the Star Wars sequels did. So my optimism is sky high. I know where I've come from. I know what I've been through. But now that I know what I've been through and how I saw how that was handled, seeing how this is handled completely different than the last time, I'm much more confident in this Superman movie than I think I would have ever been. Have it be done another way, So I can't wait for this movie. July 11th honestly cannot come any sooner. And that's going to be it for me today, people. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Remember, you can find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube at Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. New episodes drop every Thursday morning. Make sure to like, subscribe, rate, review, and do all that good stuff. And yes, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I will see you guys next week.